Welcome back to Waters Ironworks. I am Philip, and we're going to be taking a look at a really fun little project today, the Bulldog Bottle Opener. So these are, they're cute, they're pretty fun to make. They're not super hard to make once you've got the right tooling. We'll talk a little bit about what tooling you need in order to make these efficiently. The forge work itself is pretty easy, and you can knock these things out. Just a fun little project. I will say they do take some practice, especially as you're figuring out exactly how you want to do them. The first one I made, he's a little scary looking. He is a dog that looks like he got hit in the face with a hammer. But refining things, they pretty quickly started coming together. And yeah, I mean, it's a fun little project. I recently taught this as a project class out at Pioneer Farms, which is why you guys are getting to see it as well. So let me put this stuff aside. I'm going to grab the tooling and we'll talk through what you need to make these successfully. All right, so we do need a variety of tools in order to make these little Bulldog bottle openers. I'm going to show you the tool, talk about where it's used, and then we'll go actually make the project. The first thing you're going to want is some sort of chisel. This is going to be used to help isolate where the ears are going to be. It is also useful if you're going to be making eyebrows or whiskers, things like that on the dog. We need a center punch. This is used to give an indication of where the whiskers start. It can also be used as a decorative element within the collar. We will need I'm using a round punch right here in order to make the eyes. You could use a dog eye punch if you wanted to make one. Dog eyes are relatively round, so make a round punch, put a little bit of a divot in it, and you can have an eye with a little bit of a pop out on there. You'll need a dog nose punch. This is a punch that is rounded on the top, sort of a half semicircle, and then has a little bit of a triangle on the bottom. You'll want a round chisel. This is, half inch, a little less than half inch wide, round chisel. I use this for the collars on the dog, as well as forming the bottom of the mouth. You'll want a slot punch in order to punch the initial hole for the bottle opener hole. A drift is pretty handy. I'm using a 3/4 inch drift in order to drift the hole for the bottle opener. And then you can use either your round punch if you have a ball end punch or something like this round swage here in order to knock down the tab for your bottle opener. So a fair bit of tooling to make in order to do all the carving and decoration on this. Once you've got these, though, these do go pretty quick. So the material that we're going to be using for this is an 1 by 1/4 inch flat bar. You have a lot of variability in exactly how big you make these things. This dog, which I think has a pretty good ratio, I use about 1.5 inches for the snout, about 2.5 inches for the face. This part right here, what I'm really looking for is 1 inch or so, 1.5 inches above the end of the snout for the face. And then this back section from the ears down into the bottle opener is going to be about 5 inches of material. Again, a lot of options. This one I'm using much closer to 2 inches for the snout. Still have about 1 inch above the snout for the face. So play around, see what you like. If you want a dog with a long face, you can do that. If you want a shorter face, you can do that too. So the first thing we're going to do is come in and just round off what's going to be the top of the dog's nose. Nothing too crazy there. We just don't want any sharp corners on it. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's heat this back up. We're gonna bring it here, fold it over at our 1.5 inch mark. I'm gonna find my mark right there. Bend this over. I wanna have it be a pretty sharp bend. So I'm gonna work from the top and the side. We're gonna go in for a reheat. One thing I wanna be careful of is thinning this out or messing stuff up too much. So we'll get it hot again. We'll put the nose side down and give it some hammer blows from the back. That'll keep the side that we're working on nice and smooth. So we've got that nice and flattened out. We're gonna find our next mark. And I think I'm gonna go a little bit more than where my mark is. We'll start working that down. Let's reheat that. We're gonna do the same thing. Start folding this back. And again, I don't wanna deform anything up here too much. So I'm gonna bring this to the near side of the anvil, put the nose below the side, hammer from the back, and close everything up here. If you need to, you can do some adjustments from the side also. But this is looking pretty good for where we want to be. We can see this one's going to wind up with a little bit longer of a nose, but that's okay. We're going to get this hot again, and we're going to come in and define the eyes and the ears next. All right, so we've got the eyes and the ears next. There's a couple different ways that we can do this. If you've got a somewhat smaller face, you might want to come in and put those eyes in first. That's what I'm going to do here. The advantage of doing this is that I make sure that I leave enough room for the eyes as I'm going in and defining the ears. So now that we've got those, let's get it hot one more time. And we'll put his ears in. So let's come in now and define these ears. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use a chisel. Just make a little bit of a line. We need enough so that when we flip this over, we're able to feel that against the edge of the anvil. So my next step here is going to be getting this hot one more time. We're going to come here to a sharp corner of the anvil where I can feel that mark that I just made, hammer it flat. All right, so I found my mark. Give it some big heavy blows here. We're gonna draw that ear out, swing around, find our other mark, and same thing again. Looking for something like that. I think they look a lot like a bear at this stage. Once we curl the ears over, that'll help with the look a lot. So let's get it hot and do that curl. So for the ears, I find it easiest to set it on the far side of the anvil. Couple little blows from the back. Start curling it there. The reason we're setting it over the far edge of the anvil is so that the other ear is not getting impacted. And that was upsetting a little more than it was curling. Let's get that hot again, and then we'll roll it. There we go. So we've got a little bit of an ear curl on those two. The nose is getting a little messed up there. So we'll just knock that back into shape. Our next step in here is we're going to come in and define the face. So we'll start by defining where the nose is going to go and build the rest of the face around that. So let's get it hot and grab our dog nose punch. The dog nose punch definitely has a top and a bottom, so we want to make sure that we get this lined up correctly here, well centered. Make sure that we like where that is. I think that looks pretty good. We'll grab our chisel again. We'll come down just from the nose, the bottom nose of the dog. Come down the face a little bit there. Bit of a line. That's looking pretty good. Let's get it hot and we'll work on the cheeks. So we're going to take our round punch, line it up to the bottom, and then let that come out to the side. Try and get it pretty even on both sides. It's important anytime you're doing this, after every hit, to make sure that you're back in the same spot. These things definitely tend to jump around a lot. Come in and give them some whisker marks here. Three are normally pretty good. Yeah, he's looking pretty happy there. I don't have a lot of room in the head, so I don't think I'm going to give this one any eyebrows. What we'll do next is come in here, thin out a little spot for a collar, and then we'll come in and make an actual bottle opener. For the thin spot, I'm going to use a rounding hammer and the horn of the anvil. So I'm going to find a spot on the horn of my anvil that matches my rounding hammer reasonably well. Just come in and set this down a little bit. What I'm really looking for is to make sure, since I'm going to put the collar on the neck here, that neck is thinned at least to the width of my half round chisel here. Let's get it hot one more time. We'll clean that up, straighten things out a little bit, put the collar in. Looking pretty good. Come in here, give them a bit of a collar. Let's get that hot again so we can make that a little bit nicer, sharper looking. Deep mark for the collar. That looks pretty good. Just going to give him a couple little spikes there on the collar as decoration. All right. We've got the majority of the dog done at this point. Our next step is to make this into a bottle opener. You could obviously turn it into all kinds of different things, but Got a glove on for this. Radiant heat on this piece of steel can make it tough to really get lined up correctly without burning your hands. I think that looks pretty good. We are using a slot punch here, just trying to make sure everything's nice and centered. Let's get that hot one more time and we'll try and punch it out. So we're gonna hammer down until we can hear it hitting the anvil, just about there. Looks pretty good. Let's flip it over now. We're going to drop the dog head off the end. And we can see this nice flat spot, right? We're going to line our slot punch up right to there. That'll drop it back in to the hole we've already made. We're pushing that slug back and forth. Sometimes it'll shear off in the hole. Most of the time, you're gonna have to bring it over an edge. Let's flip that one more time. As always, we want to shear that punch out when it's cold. We don't want the steel to be stretching on us. There we go. At this point, we've got a couple options. We can go in with our drift and drift this wide. If we do that, drift it and then go in and cut it, we're going to wind up with an end of the bottle opener that's got some points, it's got a little bit of a flat on it. The other option is, now that we understand where our hole's going to be, we can go in and cut this, and then we can round it on the horn as we're drifting the hole in order to get a rounder end of the bottle. I kind of like this little flat detail on it. So I'm going to finish drifting this one and then we'll go in and cut it off. That's about as much as I'm going to get out of that heat. It might have been a little hard to see, but one of the things that I was doing was trying to move from corner to corner on the hardy hole to even out as much as I can. You know, how much it's going to drop down into the hardy hole. So let's get that hot. We'll flip it over and we'll go from the other side this time. Once this cools down, just got to knock it out, take another pass at it. You really want to try and keep stuff hot while you're drifting. Helps a lot. pass that through one final time, the other direction. We'll be good to cut. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We apparently were a little tiny bit off, so this side wound up pushing a little bit more, being a little thinner, but it'll work out pretty well. Next up, we're gonna grab our chisel and we're gonna come in and cut that off. Being careful here not to go all the way through so I don't damage my anvil. Just get real close. Grab some tongs. We'll just flex this back and forth a little bit here to bust that off. There we go. So I'm going to put in a little bit of a tab here. Grab the round punch actually. I would like this to drop below. So I'm going to center it there. Give it a couple hits. Be careful that you don't overly work that tab as you set it down. It is certainly possible to break it off, which is not great. And then we're going to come in, take one more heat on this. So this is a 3/4 inch circle. That doesn't quite fit onto a bottle opener, so we need to make it into a little bit of an oval. So let's get it hot. We'll give it a couple taps. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is cool down the head here. I'm going to be hammering directly on those ears. So I want to make sure I'm not messing them up. We'll just make this into a little bit of an oval. Doesn't need to be crazy. That might even be more than I need. And then we'll come in here. Just give it a little bit of roundness to it there. Round things up. I think that'll work. All right, now that we're actually done forging it, let me go clean this up and we'll take a look at it once I've got the forge scale off. There is the finished product. These three have beeswax on them, which is why they're darker. We just got this one polished up on the wire wheel. It is looking pretty good. And like I said, it's a fun, pretty quick project to make. Good time. Some tooling that you've got to build for it first. Got my initials on the back there. I really need to pick up a touch mark here at some point. But that is how you do a Bulldog bottle opener from beginning to end. Good fun project. Highly recommend it. I will just at the end here mention I have set up an Etsy store. If you are interested in purchasing the one that you saw me make on this video, I'll have that up on the store as well as some of these other ones. So thank you as always for joining me at Waters Ironworks, and we'll see you again soon.